This is Brainer Rennie of the Canning Scotland News with the big line news. Now, we're doing a few specials because there's something supposed to be maybe happening that we don't know yet. My close contact at the top of the politics world has told me that there might be something, I don't know, there might be something on the cards in politics kind of things over the next few while here in Scotland. So as a result, we are going to be interviewing some candidates for something. Don't know what it's for. And it's going to be a feature on TweetStreet. So the creator of all of us, the person who imagined us, and his pal, I think it is. So we don't listen. There's true Scots. Let's put it that way. They're the daft ones that believe in an independent Scotland. I know, right? But anyway, no, stop it, right? I know, right? But anyway, we're doing something that they talk to one another. Like as if because there was a lockdown or something, they created their own wee street. Half something to do with birds or something like that was twittering or something, and they're going to be tweeting on TweetStreet and just chatting to one another, and it's basically pro-independence, you know. Aye, they want right. They're talking about the country that they love. They know that one that doesn't exist. That North Britain one that they call Scotland. Aye, that one. Aye, so they're talking about that anyway. But that's what they do, and I'm going to be introducing one of the hopefuls for something to do with it, Colette Walker from the ISP. Every time I think of that, it reminds me where I get my sofa face. Just, you know, aye, that's who I'll be talking to. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Well, I'll not be talking to you. Sorry, it's my creator that's going to be talking to you. You know, it's. We hope you enjoy it. And it gives you a wee bit of hope, you know, for long hope. Now, is it square sausage? Or is it, what do you call it? A patty? I don't know. We just call it. What? Oh, no, aye, we don't eat them. Aye. No, the link. Yeah. Aye, that's wee dog just telling me that we're not allowed to talk about Scottish things. We need to put the Brit stamp everywhere, just to let you know that we're in control, you know. But that's just how it goes. Aye, well, we need to do that because this place that we're in now, this is the guy that creates. Aye, he's one of the crazy independent supporters. Oh, aye, daft. But some laugh right enough, some laugh. Aye. Anyway, but aye, enjoy the show. Cheers for now. Oh, sorry. Cheers for now. You Canning Scotland News with the big live news. I'm Brainer Rennie.
This is TweetStreet, satirical saltire, broadcasting to you from occupied Scotland.
Welcome along to TweetStreet Scotland, occupied everyone. My name's Cinnamon Bridges, aka Peter. My co-host today, as usual, and always, will be JB Whitesnake. Hey John, how you doing?
Not bad, sir. How's yourself?
I'm good, thank you very much.
Good.
The guest that we've got today, John, is incoming political hopeful Colette Walker from the ISP party. Hi Colette, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
I'm going to pass it over to John to ask some questions about you and find out just a wee bit about who you are, what you represent, and just what kind of dog you've got as well.
That's not my dog. That's not my
It's,
dog.
it's my dog.
Is that
It's
John?
feeding time at the, it's feeding time at the zoo.
Right, so I'm going to just share, do a wee screen share just so we can show the poster of the it'll show the day. Give it its full Tweet Street introduction. So it's a politics special with Brainer Rennie introducing the ISP candidate Colette Walker, Occupied Scotland. I know that he's not introduced you yet formally, however, I've done a wee piece beforehand that I'm going to add on at the beginning of recording, and it's the character Brainer Rennie. He might appear throughout the podcast. So over to you, JB, and fire away with your questions, mate.
Hello there, welcome. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me along.
Hi. First, I'd like to ask you, what area is it you're actually covering? You're hoping to become MSP for?
I'm in the West Scotland region.
Right. So what's is that Ayrshire or whereabouts?
Yeah, you've got Ayrshire, Dumbartonshire. You know, it covers quite a wide range, through East Renfrewshire.
Right.
So it covers quite a wide. Like most of the regions, they all cover quite a vast amount of
Sure.
constituencies. So.
Sure. And when obviously the ball doesn't sort of kick off until the Parliament gets dissolved. So you've been doing a lot of preparation for it. Is it taking up a lot of your time?
The whole process has taken up a lot of my time, even from the, to even the thought of actually setting up ISP. So really since December 2019, really every day's been taken up with preparing to firstly get us approved as a political party and getting all that done. And then from approval, really just building the party to where we are now, leading up to the election. And now very scarily, we're at the point of the campaign for the election. So it's been a very, very quick year, but a lot of hard work. Yep.
And how many candidates are ISP actually putting up in the Scottish election? Do you know?
We've got 14. We've got
14 candidates.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your question. This is Furious Travelling Gypsy Fist King here. I work with You Canny Scotland News and also the Big Lie News. I'm training for a big fight now, but there's an awful lot about gypsy travellers, and I just want to know about what sort of thing the ISP's got to do for gypsy travellers like myself,
Well, we don't actually have an official policy regarding that at the present moment. We are looking at the building up of Scotland as an independent Scotland, but I'm very happy to come and speak to anybody and see exactly what their views are and what they're wanting to do, and what their opinions and suggestions are. Everybody's allowed there to come and speak and let us know what they're wanting to do. So I'm quite happy to speak to people from all communities to see what's best for them, no matter where they're from.
Thanks very much for that. I need to get back into the ring now. I'm training for a big fight. Thanks very much. Back out of yourself, John. Thank you.
I'd like to ask you, give the opportunity to tell us, I believe the ISP is going to do lots of socialist policies. So would you like to tell us what sort of socialist policies are close to your heart and what you'd like to bring in as a ISP candidate, bring that to the Scottish Parliament?
Well, for me personally, I think a lot of it's to do with social inclusion and to basically help the most vulnerable people in society. So really just now what we've been going through with COVID has actually proved that there's so much change that has to be made, a lot of reform such as education, social care, and these are all the things that I've really been an activist about for many, many years, and it's a lot to do with my lived experience. And I think lived experience is a major factor in politics. It's not all about having a political degree and going to university. I'm a disabled woman with a disabled son, and I think life experience has got an awful lot to contribute to making politics more engaging and more diverse. So I really feel that social care, education has to be looked at fundamentally, but I think obviously economy. And one of the biggest things that came out, especially through COVID, but again, we've been talking about this for many years, is universal basic income, because that then covers the vast amount of people that are very vulnerable in society, but also those that are working very, very hard in society, but are struggling every month to pay their bills and actually have any type of quality of life and any security. So I think one of the biggest policies that we are pushing through for Scotland is a universal basic income.
Excellent.
This is Odd Arm Scotland's Bolton here. Does that no speak more to the point that yous are too wee, too poor, and too stupid as a nation? Does that know what's happening here in this country, Scotland? I mean, I'm for the big lie news, and you don't have any resources or anything. So what you've got to do? What currency you've got to use? I mean, these are stuck.
Well, I completely disagree with you on that one. When you say that we don't have any resources, we have got lots. We're one of the biggest country of natural wealth, whether it's wind, water, and we've also got our fishery, our agriculture, we've got our gin, we've got our whiskey, we have got our tourism, we have got a wealth of different stuff there that contributes to the economy, but we don't see an awful lot of it. It goes down to Westminster. Can you imagine if we had all that economy that came directly to our own treasury and not down to Westminster?
Can we change the subject a wee bit, because this is like nationalist chatting. We don't have this on the big line news. Sorry for interrupting. I've got somebody else I need to talk to. I'll let you have your own chat. Right?
Let me ask you, how important is independence to you? You framed it a bit there in your last question, but how would you say, how would you encapsulate independence, how important it is to Scotland from now on?
Oh, it's just, it has to be independence for our generation and the generations to come. It's vital for Scotland with what we've seen with Brexit. We know that we're not being listened to. We're not part, we're not equal in this seemingly union. We're not at the table for any really important discussions in policy making. It's all done for us. We're ignored. Brexit's shown that, we're at the verge of economic ruin. 2014, we were promised more devolved powers. We still don't have them. The day after when David Cameron walked out on 10 Downing Street and basically declared English votes for English law, it was, you just thought, well, that wasn't part of it. They know that they're not interested. It's all about them and what they can get from us to suit them. So independence is really the only way for Scotland now to actually be in charge and again, as I said, utilise the wealth that we have, our natural resources.
Yeah, you're pushing memories that are strong in my mind as well, because I remember days before it, they're saying, don't leave the UK, lead the UK. And then, as you said, we then had Evil come out and the English vote for English laws, basically putting us back, even further back than we were before. We voted no to independence and then we get punished for it. And ever since, it's just been furthermore all the time. Yes,
I think basically Scotland's got a different feel to it. Scotland's always looked after their own. It's got an entirely different social feel to it. And I feel that Scotland then, if you look at the way like the Nordic countries are, we are very similar to Nordic countries. We look after our own society and we're being held back from doing more than what we possibly we could be doing for the most vulnerable in society. And we're living longer, which is great, but that then has implications on the economy and on society. So for us to have the full benefit from all our natural resources, we need to be in charge and we need to be looking after those that need to be looked after most. And to give that wee bit of support to somebody could actually change somebody's life. And it might not take an awful lot, but we're being held back. We've got our hands tied behind our back at the present moment. And we really need to push forward for this and get Scotland to be its own country again.
If you became an independent ISP, could you ever see yourself voting along with the Unionist bloc in any matter?
In what terms do you mean? I don't know.
Can you ever see yourself in a situation like, would you ever vote for nuclear weapons or anything like that? Would you always want to vote against
no. We are totally, we are totally against nuclear weapons. We want rid of stuff that's lying in our waters that we're never going to use, and it's costing us an absolute fortune. So no, all political parties at some point are maybe going to agree on some things and not going to agree on the majority of other things. But for major things like that, and this is one of the things that why we need to get as many MSPs elected that support Scottish independence into Parliament in May, is so that we can actually concentrate and work together about building an independent Scotland and not having a good opposition of unionists there to block us at every turn. So we do need that majority, and what the ISP are saying is we need to have the supermajority, the 2/3 majority, 86 plus seats of MSPs that support Scottish independence, so that we can move forward and we have routes and we have options to get us that wee bit closer to independence.
I'm glad that this is Brainer Rennie here, the political correspondent for You Can't Scotland News and the Big Line News, and I'm glad that you're happy to keep the nuclear weapons here in Scotland, because if they go down to Imperial England, there could be trouble, But anyway, you were mentioning
I think you might have to check your hearing, because I didn't say that. I said what we did.
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, that's a side issue. Anyway,
it's actually quite a big issue. Actually, I would disagree with you on that one. It's quite a big issue not to have whether we have nuclear arms in our waters lying there and not. So disagree with you. I might be registered blind, but I think you might have to see about your hearing as well.
Okay, right. Well, okay, we'll cut that out in edit. Don't worry about that. Anyway. Now, here we go. Brainer, I'm right at the heart of politics in Scotland. I don't know if you know, I've got somebody, there's some other name that's got their finger right on the pulse. But you'd mentioned something happening in May and about an election, but there's no general election in the Imperial UK in May. So,
I didn't say. Honestly, I really think you need to get your hearing fixed, because I didn't say there was a general election in May. I said that there was an election in May, but it's actually a Scottish election, and it's a Scottish general election because it is the main election in Scotland. So it is still a general election in Scotland in May.
All right, I'll need to update my information.
I didn't say UK, but mind you, there is local council elections down in England, so there is still other elections going on,
right.
Such as the mayor, etc. And there's local council, but I didn't say UK elections. So I really do think you need to.
It's just the You Can't Scotland News is Imperial, and we work with the Big Line News, so everything is based on. Are you talking about the section of North Britain? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm actually talking about the nation of Scotland and the country of Scotland, not a region of England, which you like to class us as, but we're actually a nation in our own right, and we're a country in our own right.
Right. Thanks very much. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
I would like to ask you about what's your concerns about Brexit. I mean, we hardly hear a word about Brexit now. The Tories and the Unionists don't want to mention, even the British media doesn't want to mention Brexit. But most people who have any common sense or any political nous know that the harshest aspects of Brexit are yet to come, and it could be over the next 5-10 years until we see the social policies that affect it. Would you agree that Brexit is going to be continually damaging to the Scottish economy and to the Scottish people?
Well, I think we've already seen that. You heard about the fishermen at the very start of the year, just at Hogmanay, and then at the new year when it all changed, that there was fish lying there, rotting, not being able to be exported and sold. And, that was it from the very get-go. And it's only going to get worse. But you also heard about the distilleries, especially gin, that, instead of a bottle maybe costing £35 to be exported over to France or wherever it might well be, then it was costing up to £70.
Right.
So no small company can afford that. And if you listen to a lot of like radio stations and, you know, people phoning in who've got small companies and are used to doing all the exporting, the problems that they've had trying to get their stuff over across the water, it's just unbelievable when you had like a 2-year transition and things should have been put in place, and they're the very people that are supposed to be keeping, you know, the UK economy going and looking at small businesses, and they're the ones that are actually going to be ruined. But again, one thing you don't hear about leading up, I find really interesting, is at the lead up to the Brexit vote and the referendum, and then leading up to all the, you know, whether we're going to get a deal or a no deal, all you heard about was all these immigrants, you know, in boats coming over, and, you know, and trying to make that, you know, one of these big political stances about all these people coming over, and you heard all the stuff about, you know, taking our social security, etc., which isn't the case. But since 1st of January, that's not in the news anymore. We don't hear about anybody coming over anymore. It's not discussed anymore. It's been completely silenced. And I just feel that in itself shows that was part of the
stunt,
the message there to try, you know, and it wasn't a nice message to put out there, because, you know, we need to look after people that are in danger, and it just wasn't the right message to put out, and it just shows that it was on purpose.
Yeah, well, you bring back something else to me there as well. It was like, I remember on Sky News, they actually had reporters on boats chasing refugees and trying to stick microphones in their face and saying, why are you coming here? And it was disgusting. It was absolutely horrific. I mean, I just wish one of them could have said, I'm from Earth. And that would be the best response you could have given them. It's horrific. You're quite correct.
I think that's right. I think that's right, John. Colette, can I ask you, just on the back of that, this is the serious side of my back. We've done the skits now, so this is the serious side, all right? From the point of view of talking about Brexit and talking about hearing about it, then not hearing about it, does that not lend more weight to the fact that the media is heavily influenced by the government of the day, and possibly to the point of corruption beyond, in my opinion? That will lend more weight to the fact that we're not hearing about that because of all the other issues, and the focus and the attention now is everybody's. It's apparent to everybody, even if you look not just on Twitter, just talking to people on the street, friends that have gone past in the garden and stuff like that, and they're mentioning the furore that's getting broadcast across Scotland about the political scene. Does that not lend more weight to the fact that the media heavily influence a lot of people with how they report things?
Well, I do agree with that, and that even takes us back to, you know, even leading up to 2014 referendum.
Yeah.
When you look at the news that went out, and, you know, I know quite a few people, you know, at that time that I knew that would watch, for example, the BBC, and everything they said, that everything that they said basically was gospel. And if I tried to give them any other information to counteract what they were saying, well, what did I know? You know, I wasn't in the BBC, I wasn't a journalist, I wasn't a broadcaster. So you've got people that, you know, will listen to something and think that that is the right thing, and it happens all along. But what I feel with Brexit, yes, it was very biased, and that's why I always say to people, you have to look at other different types of media. You know, you have to do your research. You can't just look at the same channel all the time. You know, if you look at the BBC or then Channel 4 News, and then you listen to Sky News or whatever, you have to listen to other things. But, you know, I like to listen to like radio stations that have people phoning in and hearing it from their perspective. You know, what they're going through, and especially during the Brexit and coronavirus, it's been very enlightening hearing how they themselves, and it's coming from them. But you know, when you hear things like, for example, you know, the fishermen, as I said earlier on, saying, you know, that this is, you know, ridiculous, this is awful, you know, what are you going to do about it? And you have then the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg then turning around in Parliament and saying that, you know, they're now British fish and they're happier for it. But he's not listening to the people that are actually going to go out of business and their lives are going to be ruined because it's absolute disaster. But all he wanted to say was because they're British fish. And I thought that is really, really shocking. And it was the same with Brexit, when you had phone-ins and you had medical people phoning in, GPs, consultants and all that, phoning in, talking about pharmaceuticals, medical supplies that might be held up. And Jacob Rees-Mogg basically called them liars.
Liars, this is true. I mean, but this is what we're fighting against, and I'm glad that you said learning for the 2014 and the lead up to the 2014, because this is what I've learned, and this is primarily the reason that TweetStreet was invented. I spoke to JB, and the lockdown was a big thing, and mental health is a big thing for a lot of people. A lot of the things that you were saying there lend to the fact that bullying in the workplace, there was a lot of bullying in workplaces and things like that as a result of folk not want to be left out of Europe. And it was a case of workplaces were telling them, oh, well, we might not do this and we might not do that. Certainly workplaces that I'm aware of. And other people have came to me with their stories as well. And this is something that I hope to cover on TweetStreet in another show, bullying in the workplace. It goes to lend the fact that people with power, when they abuse that power, it's the general, it's the wee person on the street that's suffering. So this is why it was invented. It was a case, so the wee person had a voice, put your voice out there. And then for enough of his Spartacus moment, like, here we go, everybody's got this concern about something, then hopefully we can get a message out, and it helps Scotland as become an independent nation. It helps us think independently, plan independently, learn independently, and hopefully an independent nation as a result of it. And this is the kind of things that these people down there don't consider the rubbish. They don't,
and they've proved it time and time again. And you know, for me personally, as I said before, I'm coming to politics from a lived experience point of view. I know the fights that the likes of myself and that I've had with either myself or for my son, for anything that he or I have required. It's always been a fight, and that's where the activist in me came in out years and years ago. But you know, there is a lot of change. And what I would say for Scotland in itself, we need to look at not just, yes, money is important, you know, economy is important, money is important, of course it is. But you can throw as much money, like, you know, they used to say, oh, you know, we'll give so many millions of pounds to the NHS. And I kept shouting at the TV, well, you could do that. You could spend millions of pounds. But if you don't have the staff there, if you don't have the people there to look after the people that are actually going to be going into those buildings, then there's no point you putting all that money into the buildings and into the equipment, because if you're not attracting the people there to do the jobs, then you're basically starting to fail already anyway.
You're spending.
You need to look at really need to look at prevention rather than cure. You know, you want to build the economy through people, and as I said, with the universal basic income, that could help so many people in society, whether it's either carers that are able to maybe get extra respite because they've got that extra money there, or they could go out and work a wee bit longer without the threat of getting that £70 a week taken off them. Because sometimes going out and working for a couple of extra hours, that could be their respite, that could be their time to actually have adult company and adult conversation. And as a carer myself, I know these things. And for your mental health, you're talking about mental health, carers suffer so much with isolation and mental health, depression, anxiety. So to get them out into society, knowing that they've got that bit of financial security, that helps them. But also you're looking at people just now that didn't get furloughed, for example, who maybe decided to set up their own business just over a year ago, and they didn't get any help from the UK government because of the time restraints on the guidelines for furlough. So they were trying to better themselves and better their families and help the economy, and they just have been left. Whereas if they had universal basic income,
been left like Boris Johnson coming down that zip line. That's what they've been left like. Boris Johnson coming down that zip line with A2 Union Jacks, looking like a clown. Like, the clown that he is. That's what people have been left like, hanging in the air, with no security whatsoever. It's ridiculous.
But what I would say was that years and years ago, and I look back years ago when I was at school, etc., and where I stayed, there was a lot of like small family-owned shops, whether it was fruit and veg, a deli, a fish and chip shop that was owned by a family. All these different wee shops. There is none of that anymore. Whereas something like a universal basic income could actually help people even think about setting up a wee shoe shop or a butcher's or whatever. And then you bring the community back. People start to get to know each other because there's no community anymore.
Communities are gone. We need to
people don't know each other, and that community's gone. But what I would say, again, what you were saying about Brexit, I think what they're wanting to do, and they are doing it, and unfortunately coronavirus kind of helped them out here, is we don't talk about it. So the average person that's trying to get on with their lives don't really know what's going on in the background. They're not hearing all the bad stories. It's been kind of silent, so that we almost get to the point that we get used to that, and I think that's what they're trying to do. We get used to the way we're living because that's just the way it is. Well, that's not the way it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, that's probably one of the strongest weapons that the unionism's got. Are people get apathetic and indifferent to it. It's the same thing every day. When people get used to it, they just, as you say, buckle down and accept it. And in Scotland, we don't need to accept it. We could do far better if we only just rise up and claim our independence as we need to do.
This is true. Right, guys, we're almost out of time, right? So I was going to finish on what was a positive thought, but just off the back of what Colette said, I'm going to try and make it a wee bit bittersweet, and what you said yourself there, John, a wee bit bittersweet. The apathy thing that you're talking about there, if we have a look at the start of the pandemic and when people were dying in the field, if we look at it now, it's forgotten about. That's perfect show of apathy. It's a case of, right, we've became apathetic to the numbers of people that are dying as a result of this pandemic. And on what Colette was saying and how I was going to finish the show was, I can remember a time when we used to have community spirit. There used to be a fete every year where everybody went, and that's missing. I would love in an independent Scotland we can bring those things back, because that's the Scots that I remember. Thanks very much everybody for TweetStreet, for joining TweetStreet this evening, and I'll say goodbye to each of you.
This is TweetStreet, satirical saltire, broadcasting to you from occupied Scotland.
I left a white rose in the window as a symbol for the free. And it's still there to remind us of the nation we can be. will you join me and stand beside me on the journey we must take? And like so many there before us, we'll make the ground beneath us shake. Let's garble and grow. Let us flourish and let us sow. The seeds of hope to start anew. Scotland's heart beats to the dreams of you. I can see you in the islands, all proudly marching Glasgow green. Friends and fans walk in the borders, smiles and laughter in Dundee. We come together as one forever and rise united side by side. So take a small step and change our future. Smell the white rose filled with pride. Let's garble and grow. Let us flourish and let us sow.
occupied Scotland.